Bonjour mes petits fromages, c'est moi, Timothée, here in gorgeous Albuquerque, lovely day here, and we're off to Nicaragua today. Nicaragua, sorry Nicaraguans, I'm buggering up the pronunciation of your gorgeous country. We're going to Nicaragua, and we are going to make rosquillas. Rosquilla? Well, I looked it up, and these are donuts, but they don't look like a donut. They are really, they're a shortbread made with masa flour, so corn flour. And I have to make a big correction. I'm a naughty boy. I have been calling corn starch corn flour for the last 21 YouTubes that we've done, and I am a nit. In England, corn flour is corn starch, but in this part of the world, corn flour is masa, right? This stuff, making tamales and that sort of thing. So my apologies. We won't be using any cornstarch today, but we will be using some corn flour. That's enough rambling from me. Before we do anything, I'm going to get this out of the way. Don't forget this. Don't forget that. Don't forget to send you comments, particularly about my pronunciation of Nicaragua. It would be lovely to hear from you. Okay. We're going to go old school on this. I could whip this up in the mixer, but the mixer, it creates a lot of noise, and we don't want that noise, so I'm going to do it all by hand, you know, old-fashioned. For this, again, it's like a shortbread, and so we need lots of butter. I'm going to put in a stickeroonie, 1 stick of butter. Ooh, I dropped something else in there. Ooh, sorry. It's all going a bit wacky here. And then into the stick of butter I'm putting 3/4 cup of sugar, and then I'm going to get my very gorgeous old-fashioned spoon, and I'm going to cream that together. It's much easier when you do it in the machine, but you know, sometimes it's just good to do things the old-fashioned way. Okay, that's looking pretty much creamed in. Let's give it one last twiddly-piddly. Okay, twiddly-piddlies ahoy. And next, into the cream butter, I'm going to put a little bit of the masa. 2 cups in total. Masa, corn flour, it's, you know, ground up corn kernels. Dried corn kernels, I'm assuming, otherwise it would be a little bit on the mushy side. And we're going to get that stirred in. Looking good, a bit more. I don't know why I prefer to stir in flour a bit at a time rather than the whole thing. It's a bit like making a roux. I think it's just it's a bit more manageable, and I think it sort of mixes just out a little bit more quickly. Okay, there it is. Butter, sugar and the masa are all mixed in nicely there. I'm going to put in 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Need a bit of salt for shorty bread. Then I'm going to put in a teaspoon of my favourite vanilla. You know, I always go a little bit over with that. And then this is 1/2 cup of milk. And that will hopefully bring it all together into a nice dough. There we go. There we go. Looking good. Right. Takes a bit of time for the milk to absorb the masa. I think for this last little bit, I'm just going to get my hands in here, and so it's nicely evenly distributed. There we go. we are now ready to make our rosquillo, our donuts which don't have a hole. So let's get ourselves a baking sheet. Here is one I had prepared earlier, and I'm going to make little balls. So we've made our balls, so to speak, and now we're going to. The rosquillas have a very distinct look. They might not have a hole, but they sort of look like they look almost like a flower. They're very, very pretty, and there's a couple of phases to our flour making. First, this is very technical. Get a cup or a glass and squish down your ball till it's about, I don't know, a centimetre or maybe just over, maybe a third of an inch, so that it's got a bit of body to it, and squish it down. There we go, nice. Don't worry if there are little cracks, don't worry that it's not perfectly round. It will all be part of the rosquilla charm in uno momento. That's me being Spanish, I don't know if you got that. Okie dokie. And there's the last one. Okay, next up, we're just going to go around and give them a little proddy to make them look almost like a flower. So the edges get skinnied down a bit, and there's like a central, what would you call that? You know, just a middle to the cookie. On that little middle bit, we are going to sprinkle just a tiny bit of brown sugar to give it an extra bit of sass, the feel. But a little bit of brown sugar here, and I'm just going to sprinkle a tiny bit into the middle of each of these. What I have done is I've preheated the oven to 355 Fahrenheit, which is 180 centigrade if you're not in America. I think everywhere else does it in centigrade because everyone else is metric. We are, I think, the only country in the world, along with some other tiny nation, that is still imperial. But that's good, you know, it's part of who we are here in America. So there they are, and they're ready for the oven. As I say, they're going in at 355, that's 180 centigrade for about 20 minutes. And in they go. Toodaloo, my darlings. It's time to get back in. Let's turn that off. Let's have a little looky. Oh yeah, now this is just how I hoped they would come out. They really do smell excellent. So there they are. And what is rather nice about them, and as I say I had hoped would happen, is they've kind of got the browning around the edge. Sugar doesn't seem to have done much, but they sure do look nice, and the smell, I wish it could be here. Oh, it's great. So, in the real world, I would let these cool before tasting, but and of course the taste does change a bit when warm and cool. But let's give one a go, shall we? There we go. I'll try not to burn myself, because I've been known to do that. The smell is great. It's not a close cousin of shortbread. It's definitely shortbready, but for me, the overwhelming taste is the masa, which is nice. It's got quite a lot of texture to it too. It's got almost a crunch to it. Mm. No, that's lovely. I think it will be even nicer when it's firmed up and is crunchy. But I would definitely recommend that. It's Lucia from Nicaragua. Nicaragua. Uh, Lovely to see you all. Don't forget to like us, comment, send us your love, subscribe to our YouTube, all that shenanigans, and we'll see you next time. Toodaloo, naughties. Bye.